After 4 a.m., I realized that Destiny 2 has won again. Bungie are a known entity in the industry, built entirely on their artistic domination of game feel, which to define is literally how the game feels when you play it. The way the guns shoot, the way you move, how easily the inputs worm their way into your brain to become muscle memory. The way a controller can become an extension of you, lessening the gap between the game and your mind. If I could press my face into the screen, I could maybe get Destiny deeper into my body. But until then, this is as close as it gets. It's 4 a.m. and Destiny is making me feel like a teenager again, staying up far too late playing Halo 2 and Halo 3 and Call of Duty.
And I'm thinking about my mom, oddly enough, and how she was certain, in a way that only she could be, that I was constantly getting, like, stoned or drunk, like, all the time, regardless of any evidence to the contrary. I remember being impatient about it,
And one day she sat me down and opened the Pandora's box of family problems to reveal that almost everyone in her extended family struggled with addiction. She figured it was only likely that I, too, would suffer the same fate. I don't know why I'm thinking about that, though it could be relevant. I enter the crucible, pushing beyond the limits of tonight and well into tomorrow. I slide, double jump, slap a grenade down, and fry the fool who followed me towards the control point. I hold the point from a vantage, pecking at the faces of every guardian that walks my way. When the radar blinks a threat, I swap to the shotgun, triple jump, and come down with the standard shoot and melee for a kill. Nothing shoots better than a Bungie shooter. When we win, it feels so good. I return to orbit, go outside and smoke a cigarette. Listen to the early morning. I used to wake up at this hour for my old morning shift, biking miles through Chicago streets to make it to the office and drink my first cup of coffee. Now I bike through Europa, the beautiful fields of white powder and blue skyboxes, one of the most gorgeous destinations in the game's history. I get off the bike and walk in circles to watch the footsteps. I briefly consider going to bed, but I can't. I have an exotic quest, tracking down the corpses of robots left scattered across the snow wastes. It's been a long time since I let Destiny embrace me, but this return seems to have made these exotic quests even more enticing. I don't know when they got good, but they feel like scavenger hunts now. Checklists of locations and objectives that push me across maps, into strikes, directly into unique missions, and then deep into the lost sectors. Mini dungeons that are few and far between within the world destinations. The entrances are hidden, marked only remotely on the map and teasingly in-game with the little lost sector icon painted somewhere in the vicinity of the entrance. I look for other guardians to see if they happen to be going where I'm going, but at this hour these are all the real heads of Destiny. Their guardian rank, which is a new addition to the game since my last relapse and marks the overall journey of each guardian, is higher than mine. Much higher. Their objectives are more grindy and arguably more important to them. These are the people that'll be doing the raids on day one. These are the folks with the real investment in the game, probably somewhere in the thousands of dollars. I'm only a tourist. I remember playing D1 on launch. Remember my friends dipping out one by one while I stayed, grinding patrols, grinding strikes. I started playing because of Halo, and I couldn't tell you why I kept playing after all the complaints and lackluster expansions of the first few years. Not even now, as I look back. Back then it was 2014. And right now it still feels like it as I go deeper into Destiny 2. It's like these worlds are causing me to regress. It's also 4 a.m., so maybe I'm just getting in a little too deep. Return to orbit. Go outside, smoke another cigarette. Listen to the sounds of space rocks bouncing off my windshield. Mess with gear. Remark that I don't have any pretty helmets, and I really want pretty helmets. Even more so than a higher light score, though I want more light too. Light is sort of like a DBZ power level, and Vegeta would think mine puny. It's a little silly what a few numbers will make me do. I get a new cloak from my hunter that's uglier than the one I'm wearing, but it's a few numbers higher. And in that moment, it is the hardest conundrum of my life. Do I want to be pretty, or do I want to be powerful? That is until I remember I can just recycle them into each other. Allow the old, pretty cloak to consume the new, powerful one, making itself more powerful. So much of my time in the menus is spent consuming like this. Quests, bounties, completions, guardian rank objectives, armor, weapons. Another cigarette, maybe. I think about all the work I have to get done tomorrow. All the work that needs done, but I don't want to do it. Then I think about my bank account and I feel the tightness of financial insecurity. I wish my avatar could consume it as well, but it would not become stronger for it. Continuing the exotic quest, I grind, gather some intel, kill a ton of Vex, the robot gremlins of the Destiny universe. Return to the tower, talk to the gunsmith, and he spits out some story, but at this point I have the dialogue audio muted. Don't get me wrong, the voice acting is great, superb even, but I'm not here for the confusing mess of a story that Destiny has been weaving since D1. I mute and I put on Harold Bloom, and I become encased in the most beautifully eerie of ambient music. The perfect soundtrack for a late night. On the tower, my normally helmeted guardian is more relaxed. I can see her face. I made her years ago, when D2 first launched, back when I was only a console baby, sitting on the floor of a friend's house while the dog licked my face and the Cabal were my biggest worry next to getting good grades on my midterms. Over the years of living and understanding myself, I've found that even when that understanding wasn't solidified like in words, it was still there. She was still there. I remember this sort of common trans egg meme about folks who play as only girl avatars and what that says about them. I know it's a meme, but it being relevant to me makes me feel like part of some kind of culture. It feels affirming in some way, even if at a distance. Shit, I forgot to take my pills. Hold on. I return to orbit only to be pulled into the final mission. I'm searching for a sword. The Lost Lament. Lament. I like that word. It feels powerful. It's an expression of grief over something that is lost. So much of Destiny 2 feels like a lament, over what it promised and what it accomplished. Its addiction to nostalgia is intoxicating at times, to a near Marvel level of cynicism. That's the power of the game, though. Even when made aware of it, even when tired of it, or even further tired of complaining about it, here it has me in its grasps once again. I wonder if there's time for another cigarette before the end. I put the controller down, go to the bathroom, wash my face. My brain is singed by 4 a.m. like the edges of burning paper. I look in the mirror and I see red eyes staring out of a pile of smoldering ash. I cannot stop myself from making the expression. And all I hear are the phantom sounds of Destiny bouncing around between my ears. It has taken my hours, and now it has taken my hearing. It's 4 a.m. and I have to admit once again, Destiny has won. The layout of the Braytech lab on Europa is a sci-fi dungeon filled with the Vex. White plastic halls descend beneath the surface of snow and ice and unimaginable pale. Large panes of glass hide experiments of metal and human intelligence. It feels like I'm exploring the city, a megastructure that expands beyond any conceivable gameplay. I regress further into the game, and I wonder if there will ever be an exit to this place. If I open the menu, will it allow me to return to orbit? I turn the corner and I find a massive canyon with platforms. Descend further into red halls. Azardah's head artificial intelligence gives me the Lost Lament, the exotic sword at the heart of this entire scavenger hunt, and asks me to protect it. I equip it automatically, and it makes me feel very pretty, and I'm told to go to town, and it spawns hundreds of these little goblin robot Vex, and I go to town on them, I smash them. I destroy them. It replenishes my ammo far too often, and I'm able to just keep swinging, feeling the blade, finishing the quest. And at the end of it all, I feel powerful for a moment. I return to orbit.